The best way to make money online is...
From the outside though, this looks like you're flying, right?
I didn't understand anything about online marketing. I just thought like if you post some pictures on Instagram and Facebook, people will go on your website and buy your product. That's not how it works. Be careful what you take advice from too. Don't do it because some internet bro that you never met give you some advice who knows nothing about your life.
Today's guest has made over $60 million in revenue across multiple online businesses. He's exited his brand for multi-seven figures, but after doing all of this, he found himself feeling completely lost and burnt out.
Burnout doesn't come from hard work. It's from working hard on things that you're not aligned with. When people say, oh, I only work an hour a day, there's no one that can work an hour a day and achieve what you have achieved. But I had to say that.
In today's episode with Tom Wang, we unpack how this e-com entrepreneur made multiple 8 figures online with SDARA Skincare and FBA Masterclass.
Microneedle derma roller. That product ended up doing like 10 units a day, 20 units a day, 100 units a day, 200 units a day. I think at the peak of about $6 million in revenue.
What success really feels like when you've achieved every goal imaginable.
At the end of the day, it's just alignment, man. I never wanted to get up and be like, I'm the course guy. But then like, I really need the money.
The health scare that nearly ended everything.
I just felt like super off. I felt maybe brain foggy, super slow. My eyes weren't working properly.
And how he's rebuilding, this time with balance, clarity, and purpose.
Healthy man has 1,000 wishes, a sick man only has one. When you're focusing too much just on the end result, you never win.
So if you've ever chased making it and wondered why it still feels empty when you get there, this episode is for you. Tom, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. Can we kick off with your kind of backstory? And I want to take it all the way back to Yellow Pages. How did you get from there to kind of where you are today with, I think, over 60 million in online revenue?
Yeah.
What was that journey like?
I'll even backtrack before Yellow Pages, if that's cool with you. So born and raised in China. I lived 10 years in China. Very loving parents. My mom was a professor. My dad was an engineer. My dad decided to come to Canada when I was 10. So when they first came to Canada, they had $6,000 to their name. We went from like a very middle class. We weren't rich by any means in China, but like we were able to do most things. We went from that to basically very poor in Canada. Had a place to live. My dad had like a 1990 Dodge Caravan. We had to say no to a lot of things because of money. Yeah. So for example, I remember going to school at a very early age. On Fridays, they have the Friday lunches where you pay like $10 for a hamburger and then you get some games and stuff like that. And it was my first time hearing about it. I came home to ask my parents for $10 and they're like, no, we have to save our money. So it was a lot of that coming to Canada. So at a very early age, I felt like money could have solved all those issues. And yeah, like it wasn't a fun place to be at all. It was very restrictive. So went to college, went to actually 4 different universities because I didn't like school at all. Went to first one, got kicked out due to academic grades. Went to another one, got kicked. I dropped out. Went to another one, dropped out, whatever. So ended up finally getting a diploma in marketing and sales at a school called BCIT, 2-year program, quick in and out. And afterwards, I applied for like 15, 20 jobs. Nobody wanted me because they saw my resume. It's like, hey, what did you do over the past like 5 years? And obviously, I couldn't really tell them the real story of me getting kicked out of every single school. So I just made up some like random stuff. And anyways, I got into Yellow Pages because they were the only company that would hire me. Because at Yellow Pages is basically commission only. Your hourly rate is actually lower than people that work at McDonald's. Because they had to pay you legally, like the bare minimum wage was like $10.50 an hour. Mm-hmm. So your salary per year was like $22,000 Canadian. And at the time, I was like very desperate. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll take the job and I'll go find something else. And at this time, like every single person that I graduated with already had a, $70,000 job, $80,000 job. And my whole thing was like, I want to make $100,000 right out of school because I felt like if I can make 6 figures out of school, then I can kind of prove all the haters that they were wrong about me. Because up to that point, I didn't do anything my entire life. Like I was a fucking...
Were you academically trying hard or?
No, okay. I wasn't at all. I always had these like side hustles. I feel like with entrepreneurs, like some people are just born to be entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. Like I remember my dad, when he came back from the US at the age of, I was probably 6 years old. I went to school. He brought me back these pens from Staples in the US. They're called big pens, right? Yeah. But they're just pens made in US. Actually, they were probably made in China, sold in the US. But as a Chinese kid, we never seen anything from USA before. Yep. So my dad brought me a bunch of pens, and I will come back and I brought them to school, and all my classmates were like, "Oh my god, like what kind of pen is this?" And I was like, maybe I can sell this. So I ended up selling individual pens to these kids in school, and they use that money to play video games and stuff like that. So that was my first little like entrepreneurial experience. But yeah, I got a job at Yellow Pages. I remember making first year I made like 150,000. So I achieved my goal because it was on cap commission. And I remember first day at Yellow Pages, I didn't have any like prior proper corporate sales experience, but I just saw one guy because at Yellow Pages you get to see you basically get to see how much everybody makes, which is kind of weird.
Like a sales table.
You get to see the sales table, right? Same as info, but I saw the number one guy, his name is Pavan. So like everybody would make like 90, 80. One guy would like make 100, but he's making 250. I'm like, what is he doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember after the first day of training, I actually walked up to his desk and be like, "Hey, Pavan, like my name is Tom. I want to learn how to sell. Like, can you teach me?" He's like, "Wow, I worked here for 5 years. Like no one ever asked me that question." So it's an inside sales job. So we never had to do customer facing. It was all over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the phone conversations were recorded. So I just asked him, like, "Can you just send me the call recordings?" And I literally wrote everything down, the word by word, his entire script, because he sounds the same every single phone call. There's a script that he follows, right? And at the end of the day, we also get to see who talked the longest on the phone and who made the most amount of dials. And he's always in the top 3. So I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to say what he says.
Yep.
I'm going to make as much, calls and talk for as long as he says. And even if I don't make 250, like I should make 50% of that, at least. So that ended up happening. And then during that time, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always had these like weird side hustles, like buy, sell. I'm a merchant. That's what I think I am. Like at the time, I remember hoverboards were very popular. And I was like, okay, I'm going to work at Yellow Pages during the daytime. I'm going to sell hoverboards in the evening, like after I get off work. And I imported like 10 hoverboards from China. 8 of them broke. I sold them, but not the way I wanted to sell them, meaning I had a website. I didn't understand anything about online marketing. I just thought like if you had a website, if you post some pictures on Instagram and Facebook, people will go on your website and buy your product. But the product was like $700. So that's not how it worked. And I remember just like selling, I'm like, I have to sell them somehow. So I ended up selling them on like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. Well, Facebook Marketplace wasn't even a thing, it was Craigslist. So I ended up meeting people in the parking lot of McDonald's and then like selling them this hoverboard, negotiating with them. And like 2 weeks later, they called me to like, "Dude, this thing broke." I had to call Chinese manufacturers, ship me some new motherboards, teach me how to fix this. Had to go fix it. It was a mess. So having said all that, during that time, someone actually approached me and said, "Hey, like I sell on Amazon. How about I just sell these hoverboards for you on Amazon?" And I'm like, Amazon, that's weird. Like 2015, 16. I was like, is that a place where you buy and sell like textbooks? And then they're like, no, you can sell anything on Amazon. I was like, interesting. Oh, yeah, sure. Like, what do you need? It's like, just give me your photos. I'm like, that's all you need? Yeah. I'll take the rest. And we'll do 50-50. I was like, sounds like a good deal. Next day, he posted on Amazon, 2 sales. Now, I know that might not seem like a lot, but that is 2 million% more than what I've done by myself online because I had 0 sales. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I need to figure out what's happening on Amazon. So anyways, long story short, dove into Amazon, started a brand called SDARA Skincare. First product failed, second product failed. Third product was the winner. It was a micro needle derma roller. In 2017, that product ended up.
Why skincare out of interest? Why did you pick that?
At the time, like I was listening to a lot of podcasts, and then they basically just said, use Jungle Scout, go in different categories, pick something with high margins. And then my wife found skincare. My wife's like, oh, let's launch like a vitamin C serum, which is like the most competitive thing you can launch. Like, oh, sure, let's do it, right? And then launched it. We still got some sales. Don't get me wrong. Like we made like $10,000 the first month.
Oh wow!
In revenue. But I was like, this is insane. Like I don't even know what I'm doing. I had 0 clue. I posted up some random pictures and now I'm getting sales on Amazon. So what is this Amazon thing? I need to figure it out. Launched another product. That one failed completely because it was a beauty tool and it was a fad. So like it was one of those drop shipping fads. It was a silicone makeup sponge. Didn't work. And then at that time I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then my wife's like, no, we gotta, girlfriend at the time, now wife. She's like, no, we gotta try one more time. So we found the microneedle derma roller. We're one of the first ones in the market. And then that product ended up doing like 10 units a day, 20 units a day, 100 units a day, 200 units a day. So I quit my job at Yellow Pages, dove into Amazon full time. Again, long story short, I ran it up to around, I think at the peak of about $6 million in revenue. But our EBITDA was insane. Like we were doing about 35% net margins. Because it was me, her, CFO, COO, customer service. 5 people. That's it.
Or was it purely Amazon?
99% Amazon. We had a Shopify site and everything, but it was mostly Amazon. But our derma roller, we got it down. Our cost was like, landed cost, I think was like around $1.50 and we're selling for $21. You know, after Amazon fees, they take about 30%. Sure, whatever. So our all-in cost before advertising, gross margin was, it was insane.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like 80%, more than 80%. So we never had any cash flow issues. It was a crazy cash generating machine. And at the time, I was also very into Gary Vee. So it was like, document your journey. So I picked up a camera and I've always been into like camera, videography, photography kind of thing on the side.
Yeah.
And I started documenting my journey on YouTube and just sharing with people like what I'm doing, what's working, what's not working. One thing led to another, build an info product business that ended up doing close to $50 million in sales in 5 years.
Wow.
Called FBA Masterclass. And then burnt out pretty hard. We can talk about that. Burnt out, had a baby, moved to Dubai from Canada. So a lot of like life changes over the past little while. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
It was a crazy 10 years, 8 years?
2017. Well, I started working at Yellow Pages 2016.
Okay.
15 or 16. So it's been less than 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've had a huge amount of business success, and I don't really want to go into that today.
Yeah.
We can maybe do another episode on that. I think the only thing I want to add to that is the exit to Thrasio. Can you just talk briefly about that kind of experience? And
Sure. Yeah. So we were in early 2020. We were in Thailand. I remember in January on a vacation. And then my friend was actually on the board of Thrasio. His name is Casey. He actually used to own Viral Launch, which is one of the top SaaS companies in the Amazon space. And he was like, at the time, they were acquiring customers aggressively or brands aggressively. So I got in touch with Casey. At the time, I think we were doing about, I think our net profit was only about like 1.5-ish. And they offer us 2x EBITDA, basically. They're like, we'll buy it for 3. I was like, no, that's not very exciting. You know, 3 million, whatever.
you're cash flowing that, right?
Yeah, I was cash flowing. I was like, it wasn't exciting. Anyways, it was even lower than that, actually. It was probably like, they were going to offer us like 2.5 with contingency about it. I was like, no, not down. So anyways, we said no, but I still wanted to go to market. I wanted to hire a broker to see if we can get any better deals, because that's the first deal that we got. So that's the bottom, right? That's like rock bottom. So I was like, okay, well, if we got 4, we get 5, then it's a possibility. So we hired a broker. His name is Corin, FBA Brokers, but he's no longer doing the FBA broker business. And we went to market in, I want to say like February, like mid-February, right? So what that looks like is you design a deck, like a book of your business, revenues and hero SKUs and stories and whatever. And he has a network of people that are, buyers, and he will send out a massive email, and whoever's interested can book a call with us. So people were interested. We built a really nice looking brand. We're in retail, like Nordstrom and stuff like that, and great cash flowing business.
Yep.
So people booked a call with us, and we had probably like 15 different calls. So I was like, let's go. I'm like pumped, right?
Cold.
Yeah, I was like, it's pumped. Then March 2020 hits, right? It's like the world's ending. Like everybody was like, yeah, we're not going to do this right now. So I was like, all right, whatever. And then our sales started dropping, and then I'm panicking. And I'm like, all right, what's going on? Our sales dropped by 30%. Oh my God, the end of the world's ending, blah, blah, blah. And then when people realize the world's not ending, e-commerce just took the biggest, like,
Yeah.
biggest V-shape recovery. And, we went from doing, I don't know, like $300,000 per month to over $1 million per month.
Wow.
Right? Just like running out of inventory, scrambling, just like, it was crazy. It was crazy. And then in September, one of the first original people that had a call with us, they came back. They're like, hey, how's your brand doing? We're like, it's doing amazing. Thank you for not buying it. They're like, yeah, like we're interested, but can you maybe like take out this COVID bump? Can we just like talk about the original numbers? I'm like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Not a chance. So they're like, okay, fine. They give us an offer. We signed an LOI, letter of intent, and then they started doing due diligence. And then at the end of the third month, they decided to kind of change the term on us last minute, like right before the closing. And apparently this is a very common strategy in private equity. It's called a deal fatigue, because like during due diligence, it's a lot of work. Like they want to know everything, right? So much communication, and your mindset is also in the weird place. You're like, am I selling this? Am I growing this? Like, I don't know what to do. So they have questions every day, calls every day. And then at the end, they're like, and then again, my wife being so stubborn, right? She's like, no, like we're not doing this. And meanwhile, I'm at the Lamborghini dealership. I'm like, hey, which Lambo do I want to buy? And she's like, Tom, get your ass home. We haven't sold this business yet, And so we ended up saying no. But then because it's the year end, Thrasio has targets to hit because they raise a bunch of debt.
Oh, they got to deploy.
Yeah, they got to deploy. They can't raise a bunch of money and just sit on it doing nothing, right? Investors want to deploy. So my friend Casey, again, he's like, hey, it's the year end. It's December now. Like, we have some targets to hit. It's much better than 2x what originally offered you. Let's hop on a call. And then literally like 2 calls later, like within 1 week, like, hey, let's do the deal. And then we got our wire. It was a mid 7-figure deal, all cash. And we got our wire literally the day before Christmas. Yeah, like before the cut line, like on the Friday.
So 3 weeks.
It was fast. Yeah, it was fast. Just
wow.
Because the thing is, we did all the due diligence already. So we already have everything. We have everything like, hey, what do you need? You need this? Okay, we already have that for the other person. So it was very fast. And then we stayed on for only like a month after.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they just like kicked us out basically. And then, but the biggest lesson I want to share with everybody about selling, if you're thinking about selling an e-commerce business, is number one is make sure your revenues is growing year over year, at least by 20 to 30%. That should be the minimum. Number two is if you can, make sure like your hero SKU doesn't take over like 40% of your entire business. I know most of us have hero SKUs, but ours is like a little bit more aggressive. It was like 60%. So a lot of people didn't like that.
And that
but if you
valuation?
A little bit. If you can actually just decrease it to maybe like 30, 40% by launching more products, that's probably better. If you can, for example, we're on Amazon, 90% of our sales on Amazon. But then if you can have another channel that does at least 30% of your revenues, that's diversification. Don't just say, oh yeah, I'm on Amazon or Shopify, but they do like 5%. They don't care about that. But if you can do retail 30%, Shopify 30%, Amazon 30%, that's great, right? That's like fully diversified. Yeah, so you want to grow, and then you want to have at least like 20% net margins on EBITDA. So those are kind of the rule of thumb, and I think that can help you to get a good valuation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to take it back to what you said a few minutes ago about burnout. So at this point, are you solely focused on the info business? You've had the exit. You've obviously got big life changes going on, but you're managing what, like a 50-person team? Yeah. So what was the story to the
2019, I started teaching Amazon in person in Vancouver. I would host a $20 entrance event with 150 people. And I would stand on stage and I would sell them into a weekend workshop. The weekend workshop is 9 to 5 and on Saturday and Sunday, and I would teach them everything in person. So I would charge $3,000 Canadian and I will fill up a room of 50 people. So I make $150K, and my cost was classroom rental, which is $700. Wow. Like it was 99.5% margins.
It's higher than the online info.
It is. It was, man, like I felt like Warren Buffett at the time, man. I felt so rich at the time. I got my Amazon business coming in. I sold this. I got this. Anyways, and then 2020 hit. Couldn't do in person anymore due to COVID. So I had to migrate online.
Okay.
Right. And I partnered up with someone. I got two partners actually. One was more the operations, one was more marketing and sales, and I was more the product and the face. We partnered up, created FBA Masterclass, went from zero to $1 million a month in sales in 5 months. We launched in we just exploded.
Was the engine to that Facebook ads or
YouTube ads?
Okay.
Yeah, YouTube ads.
She's been posting organically.
You know what? I have such a great personal brand built up to that point already. I think if you look me up on Instagram, I'm there. I've been featured on all the Amazon podcasts. I've been posting on YouTube video organically. Like I became a thought leader in the space of Amazon.
Yeah.
So when people did look at that time, I feel like the customer they weren't as sophisticated as they are now because people are skeptical. They got burned from multiple people whenever they see ads everywhere now. At the time, info was a little bit different. It was a little bit easier, I would say. So yeah, we went from zero to $1 million per month in very, very short time. And then I basically did FBA Masterclass. So we sold the business, call it December 2020, call it 2021. And then I did FBA Masterclass from basically 2020 until 2024.
So there was overlap and you weren't taking time off.
No. Here's what I learned about burnout. Burnout is not from working hard.
What is it from?
It's from working hard on things that you're not aligned with.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to come back to that thought, but can we just talk to the scale of FBA Masterclass? So you started this, had the exit, continues to scale it. What does it look like at its peak in kind of revenue? And then how do you start to feel burnout?
Yeah, it was like 14 million Canadian revenue, like 1.5-ish per month in revenues. And then some months we had like 50% profit margins, which was amazing. Yeah, I mean, there were definitely months where we had high 6 figures in profit.
Mm-hmm.
And
from the outside though, this looks like you're flying, right?
I did feel like I was flying at the time.
Okay.
But it became, the problem I have with info is you have to be a very aggressive marketer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I'm about to say is my own interpretation of things. I'm not necessarily saying every single info has to be aggressive advertisers. We had to be aggressive advertisers because we felt like if we didn't, then our ROAS wasn't going to be as good.
To get the best results.
To get the best results from a marketing perspective, you have to say things to make the opportunity look attractive and easy.
And that might not necessarily be true.
And that might not necessarily be true, especially with a business. Because business, you've started multiple business. I have started multiple business. It's hard. It's not so easy. When people say, oh, I only work an hour a day. You don't fucking work an hour a day. I'll bet anything I have that you don't work an hour a day. There's no one that can work an hour a day and achieve what you have achieved.
Yeah.
But I had to say that. You wanna work 30 minutes a day and make this much money, like Amazon, FBA, like it does 99% of the work for you, blah, blah. I just had to make the opportunity look so attractive. And deep down inside, I know I wasn't necessarily, I was like borderline lying. I was like, I felt unethical.
And that's where the misalignment.
Yeah,
came.
That's the misalignment. I remember one day I had to film an ad and my copywriter wrote the script and I sat down in front of a teleprompter, all ready to go, very similar to this. And I remember the first line so vividly. It says, the best way to make money online in 2023 is Amazon FBA. It just said that. That's the hook. And I just sat there and I couldn't say it. Like my mouth wouldn't open.
Yeah.
It was like someone locked up my mouth and I just couldn't say it. And then at that point I knew, but here's the other thing though, is after I sold my business, I stepped away from Amazon. I feel like if I still had an Amazon business and it was still every single morning I wake up 10K in sales, 20K in sales, I think I would have had less trouble seeing that it was a good opportunity.
To your lifestyle and what you're doing.
I think in order for you to sell info, you have to be in the trenches of whatever you're selling.
But most people that are selling info, especially at scale, that's not true, right?
They're probably just focusing on info now.
Correct.
And they're not focusing on the thing that they're actually bringing people in.
So
at least, again, that's my experience. Like, I don't want to, I'm just sharing my version of my story. I stepped away and I think we'll never know, but like, I think if I still had an Amazon business that was generating 10, 20, 30K a day, I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't do anything. I made $5,000 today. I would have had a way less, way less of a harder time to just like saying, like, dude, this is amazing, right?
So you're kind of recognizing this kind of incongruency and, you're not entirely happy with what you're doing.
Yes.
How does that lead to burnout, or what does that kind of physically manifest as.
Yeah, and I never felt proud to like sit in the room and like there's like 30 entrepreneurs around the table. One guy's like a tech guy, another guy's an ecom guy, this guy's that. And I was like, I never wanted to get up and be like, I'm the course guy. Like I never, obviously there's a negative stigma around like courses and stuff, but like it wasn't even that. I was just like never too proud to say this is my primary business. Like, oh, I teach people how to make money. I don't know. Like I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
But I think the burnout really, I knew that, yeah, I just became, man, like we didn't have a refund policy, for example. And if someone pays me like 10, 15K, like we don't offer refunds. But then like someone will be like, I really need the money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't want to offer a 15K refund. Just stuff like this, you know? And then someone, for example, they're like, oh, I took your course. I did what you told me to do. And I lost 20K. Like this is my life savings. Like those things like ate at me to the point where how I blocked those things out was I just blocked it out. Like as in like, I closed the door on them.
Yeah.
But I closed the door not on only those people, on everybody. Because I can't be selective of who I close the door to.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to just be like I'm gonna go hiding mode now. I had the fear of like I might see someone on the street and like they're not happy with me. Then it might be a confrontation. Just stuff like that. And, you know, people recognize me. They're like, oh, you know, I never had a bad in-person event ever. Like every single event that I've had in person has been fantastic. But that thought, the fear, you know, comes at you. And at the time, FBA Masterclass wasn't doing too well because I was stressed. I was burnt out.
Yep.
I stopped filming ads for probably 6 months. You can't not film ads in an online business. You need to test new angles, new hooks, new this, new that. I just refused to do it. Our numbers tanked. And because of that, I was already burnt out. Then I got even more stressed because the numbers tanked. And then I'm being all negative and stuff on my team calls. Like, hey, why aren't you guys doing this? Why aren't you guys, okay, you know what? You're fired. Like it just became so toxic, you know? And looking back, I fucking hated that, man. I'm like, why even do this if this is how it's going to be? Like, this sucks. Like, I'd rather work a job and just be happy all day than like having all this, but feeling this way all day. So, yeah. So we stopped enrollment of all FBA Masterclass students. So the business was doing 10 mil a year, 8 mil a year at this time. And I just remember I was like, I can't do this anymore. It wasn't an easy decision. I had people on my payroll.
Yeah.
That was really, really hard. The people on my team, the students, I'm still servicing them. Like it's not like, oh, like I'm still fulfilling all my duties. A lot of them bought some VIP packages. We're still providing everything. Like it's not like, you know, out of my own pocket. I'm still providing those services, but no more enrollment of new students. But what's really interesting is now I feel like I got my drive back and I've come across, it's been a few years and I've done a lot of like life coaching, spiritual coaching, stuff like that. I feel like I'm on the other side of it now and I'm launching another like Amazon brand.
Nice.
And now I'm like, and I actually feel this like spiritual awakening / calling to actually share everything I'm learning right now. Why? Because I think a lot of young people are actually very hopeless. They can, they're going to school, they're going in debt, they can't afford a house. They're watching video games, especially young men. At least from what I heard, this generation of young men are very hopeless. Testosterone levels are all-time low. And I actually feel like if I have this gift of knowing how to make this work and make money online, the least I can do is actually share it with the world. So I actually feel this calling right now to just document everything I'm doing with this new brand, share it with the world. I'm not going to charge anything for it right now. Maybe I will down the road and getting back to the info, but in a very different way. But right now, I don't want to charge anything. I just want to teach people how to make money online so that they realize like life doesn't have to be this way. It can actually be this way. Like if a immigrant, poor Chinese boy from Harbin, China came to Canada with absolutely nothing and he can make something out of it, then I can as well.
This is very powerful. Can you just talk to that journey that you went through from that kind of, removing yourself from the world, shutting the door?
Yeah.
And how you kind of got through that and came out the other side?
But it all started with actually like a mental like illness, like a physical mental illness, not like, anxiety or anything like that. Not saying those are not illnesses. I've definitely had my fair share of anxiety. You went to go see a neurologist. He actually prescribed me to be depressed. He's like, take these antidepressants. But basically what had happened was in 2021, and mind you, like I did have some physical injuries. So I had a concussion from snowboarding. I had COVID vaccines. I had all this stuff. And then one day I just woke up in July 2021. I just never felt right. I just felt like super off. I felt maybe brain foggy, super slow. My eyes weren't working properly. And I thought it would just go away after a week. It just never went away. And I still feel it to this day, actually. So I don't know where it's from specifically, but based on what I think I understand now, it's kind of a cocktail. It's a mix of everything. It was the FBA masterclass stuff, the burnout, the COVID, the neck injury, the concussion. It was everything just happened at once.
Yeah.
And then just my body just like blew up. The engine blew up, basically. And then from there, I traveled to like US, Toronto, whatever, to go see concussion clinics and doctor and neurologists and this and that. I'm like, I need to be fixed. And I'm not sure if you actually saw recently, Chris Williamson, he put out a video about his health from mold or whatever. And he obviously has a lot of money. He did all these treatments, like every single one of these treatments, advanced treatments in Mexico, this and that. He can't be fixed. Like at the end of the video, he's pretty much like, yeah, I did all this and I'm still sick.
Do you feel like what you experienced was very similar to what he experienced?
Yes. Very. Like when he made that video, I was like, bro, I was in your seat. I went everywhere. I found the best neurologist. No one could fix me. I had shit in my head and whatever. And that actually led to a lot of anxiety. Like a lot of anxiety.
I do want to talk about the solutions in a second, but I have not a theory, but I just see a lot of guys around me that are kind of, late 20s to late 30s, work extremely hard, not kind of maybe as personally fulfilled as they could be, but they kind of ignore these problems that are going on. Do you think that's kind of an issue that you're seeing as well?
I don't really focus too much on like other people or what they go through. I don't know what they go through.
Okay.
But I can just only speak for myself. Like I was definitely that person where I didn't feel right, but I was like, just push through, like be a man. It's just a little neck ache. It's just a little COVID jab. Like it's just a little concussion. Work comes first, just the hustle culture, right? But yeah, I mean, if you don't, there's a saying, right? Like a healthy man has 1,000 wishes, a sick man only has one. So it isn't until you lose your health where you realize that nothing really matters. And you can hear me say this and you're like, yeah, that's right. But like, it isn't until it happens to you where you realize it. It's one of those lessons you really, really have to learn yourself. And for me, I'm almost like, I'm a Christian and I feel like God really had to slow me down. Like he's like, because I remember the day after I sold my last business, I called my friend who just sold his business for like $500 million, a pet supplement brand. I was like, hey, how do I sell my business for $100 million? I didn't even take the time to realize what I've done. I didn't even take the time to just take a step back and pat myself back on the shoulder, be like, bro, you did it.
Yeah.
Like there was one day a boy who was so desperate and hungry for success. He would do anything. He would do anything. He would fucking clean the toilet. Like he would do anything to make money. And I didn't even acknowledge that little boy. And I didn't even just take one step back and take a breath and just absorb everything in. I was already onto the next race.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this one's done. Let's go to the next one. Like this one's too small, let's go get a bigger one. Because then only then can I feel much happier.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, if you fucking can't feel happy after this exit, you're not going to feel happy after the next exit. There's no way. 0%. I can guarantee you that. But being an entrepreneur, there's definitely a lot of pros, but there's also, some cons where we're always future pacing, right? Our mind is a predicting machine, right? If I say the weather is very nice today or hot today, like you're going to avoid, like you're predicting what I'm about to say.
Yep.
And I think for entrepreneurs, especially, we have to do forecasting. We have to do competitor analysis. We have to say, what if this happens? What if that happens? And so many times now we're in this pattern of future pacing. We stop enjoying whatever happened like presently, because it's true. Like what we have today, 10, 20 years ago, we only dreamt of. And we're actually living that dream now. And so many of us don't take a second to just breathe that in, to absorb that, to give ourselves a little pat on the back. Be like, good job, man. You did it. And I think by doing that, you can actually create the next business. Because now you have this positive energy around it. It's not like, oh my God, it's not coming from a place of lack. It's not like, oh man, like, like I wish only I had that. I didn't have that. They had that. It's comparison. It's all these different things, but it's like just stay in your own lane, man. And yeah, that's one thing that that I kind of realized. It's kind of taking a step back, and I never ever want to build a business where I was in that mental state with FBA Masterclass ever again. I swear to God, I would rather work a 9-to-5 job right now and just go into my job, do my thing, get out, and don't feel. I'm sure I'll hate it, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's just an analogy. Like that was dark, man. Like I wasn't even being myself. I was so negative. I was screaming at my employees. I hated this, that, and I just never want to go back there again. So the question is, how do we make sure we never go back there again? Well, what actually happened? Like what led us to that at the first place? Well, misalignment, so on and so forth. Okay, how do we get aligned? Well, we can only figure out our alignment, I think, by tapping into our body. Just like I have this life coach. He works with Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, tech billionaires. And every single time I talk to him, he never gives me one piece of advice. He's never given me a single piece of advice. You might say, well,
what are you paying?
You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like, dude, bro, you pay this much money and he doesn't give you advice. You're an idiot. Well, here's the beauty of it. He believes that we already know everything deep inside. When people say, oh, I have a gut feeling or my heart is broken, these are all physical sensations. Your body is always actually trying to tell you something. There's always signals and signs. But the problem with being an entrepreneur is that we're always up here. And up here is a very dangerous place to be because sometimes, I'm not sure about you, but I always have two voices in my head.
Yeah.
One voice is telling me one thing and the other voice is telling me the other thing. And sometimes they wouldn't shut up. They're like just screaming at each other. And I'm being in the middle. I'm like, it's driving me insane. I just want to like curl up and just like, stop it. I want to go to bed. I don't want to hear this anymore. I don't know how to shut it up. And what I realized is that that's such a weird place to be. And how you get out of that place is actually by tapping into your body.
The physical self.
The physical self. And you might be like, what does that mean? Well, like next time that happens to you, just ask your body, where do you feel that? Do you feel it in your chest? Is your chest being like tightened? Do you feel it in your thighs? Do you feel it in your face? Is your face getting hot? Like the physical sensation. And in it, this is where the life coach comes in. He'll ask me different prompts. He'll give me different prompts, ChatGPT style. But within it, if you stay within that long enough, these answers will start appearing. It's the weirdest thing, dude. It's trippy. It's crazy. But that's why monks, they meditate. Because they're trying to quiet the mind. They know the mind is a very, very...
So you quiet the mind to listen to the body?
Yes. You get into the body and the body will tell you things. And then you start giving yourself own advice. Because you realize like I already have all the answers within me. So for a long time, I was trying to figure out what the next business is. Like I semi-retired for 2 years, right? I just stopped working at all. And I was like, let me try the AI agency stuff. Fucking hated it. Let me try like e-commerce business. Fucking hated it. I hated everything, right? Is it the businesses or is it me?
Yeah.
Right? And what I realized is instead of trying to seek what my next thing is, instead of trying to go out there, what is my next thing? What is my next thing? I already have everything inside.
Yep.
Like all the answers are already inside.
Yeah.
So instead of seeking for solutions, I actually had to receive like what's already inside and tapping into my body. And then that's when I figured out like, I'm a teacher. My mom is a professor. She had me when she was, when she had me and she was pregnant with me. I was already teaching pregnant people. I'm a preacher. Like I'm a missionary. I love sharing what I'm learning. That's just who I am. Now, you might not be. Like you might be something, but every single one of us, I believe, in this world has given like a God-given talent, a God-given gift.
Yeah.
And I think if you can find the authentic, true self inside of you where something really feels aligned, it has to feel aligned. Like when I say I'm a teacher, I didn't really like that at first, but the more I thought about it, the more I meditated on it, the more I'm like, that is who I am. And then I can tap into that fully, you know? And then one last thing I will say is also, I read the book called The Courage to be Disliked.
Yeah.
It's a Japanese book. It's a great book. But part of it I loved was it talks about there's different tasks. So for example, if my Amazon FBA student took my course, didn't do anything, that's not my task. My task is to create the best product there is. Whoever takes it, whatever they do, separation of task. If they don't do it, I can't put my energy in that.
Yeah.
It's a loss of energy.
Yeah.
So it's a great book. I recommend everybody to read it. But then after that, now whenever I have an issue, the first prompt I give myself is, whose task is this? If this is someone else's task, don't spend an ounce of energy on it. You're wasting your energy. But if this is your task, then you need to ask yourself, what can I do in this moment right now to improve the situation, to make it better and whatever. And that actually gives you a lot of power, because then now you can actually focus all that attention on improving what the product or whatever else it might be. So I think that has been a good insight as well.
Okay. You talked there about trying, AI automation agencies and a few other different kind of ventures. I remember when we spoke previously, you said you almost felt like you were forcing that. You were kind of coming in with a game plan and end goal in mind.
Yes.
But when you kind of started the initial businesses,
yes,
you were not working like that at all.
Dude, expectations kill intrinsic motivations.
Okay.
So I'm a golfer. I've been golfing for 3 years, got down to like a 6.3 handicap, which is like pretty good. In golf, in any sports actually, you speak to any top performing athletes, they know that everybody's trying to win. Obviously, if you show up to a golf tournament, or if you're Michael Phelps, you're trying to win the tournament, of course. But the problem is when you get too tense, when you're focusing too much just on the end result, you never win. The best golf rounds I've ever played, when business was the most fun, is when I was in flow. Is when things were like play. When things were just, I'm curious about this. How do I figure this out? It's like a puzzle. I'm just trying to figure out how this puzzle works. And when I sold my first business, started FBA Masterclass, the third business, I'm like, this business better be bigger than the first two.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I don't even know. I don't even know why I had that expectation. It's pretty normal though. The first one was smaller, and then the second one was bigger, and the third one obviously has to be bigger, right? But the reason why the first two businesses succeeded in the first place is I had zero expectations. I had negative expectations. I thought I was going to lose money, But by having no expectations, the outcome actually came out. Whereas in golf, if I have this shot and I'm like, you can't fuck it up. This ball has to land on the green. It just has to.
It's the worst shot of your career.
It's the worst. You wouldn't even know how to swing a golf club.
Yep.
But if I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. My body's free. It's not tense. I can just flow through the shot. It always ends up being a good shot most of the time, not always. But I think applying that to business as well, and that's the thing, right? It's like when we're growing this business, when we have employees, when you have to do forecasting, when you have to do projections, when you have to do this, when you have to do that, it's really, really hard not to have expectations, because the nature of forecasting is expectations. Where do we want to go next year by 30%, right? I get that as well. But for my next business, for my next journey, I'm really going to be testing out this theory of like, can we make business fun again? Can we just play? Can we just make this a fun culture? I don't want to do things I don't want to do. I want to be aligned, but also I just want to make the daily stuff fun. Can I do that? Now, 2 years later, please have me back on your podcast and ask me how my business are doing, because I might just be like, dude, that was the worst idea ever. I lost everything. Or I might be like, you know what? Doing a couple $1,000,000 a year, but like, I'm fucking happy.
Yeah.
I'd rather be doing that right now than doing, again, back to FBA Masterclass days, pulling in 14 mil and just like hating it.
Yeah.
Hating it. I never want to go back there ever again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say you've almost spent the past couple of years unlearning the bad habits with the business success, right? You're forecasting, you're living in the future, you're becoming a certain type of person.
Yes.
And then have you spent the past kind of year or so unlearning,
Yeah.
unraveling those habits?
Yeah, I have. And those habits, you learn them from people that you look up to. You learn it from people around you. You learn it from mentors, or even like Gary Vee, like just watching his videos, or Alex Hormozy. He's like, you gotta sit in this room and close the window and work for 18 hours or whatever.
Yep.
Nothing against him, but if that's what he wants to do, then go. But that might not necessarily be the best thing for you.
Yep.
Right? Like, we all have different lives, and you got to find something that works best for you. Like, recently I took a golf lesson, or 6 golf lessons from this one guy. He's been trying to get me like to do this certain move. I just can't do it. I fucking can't do it. And then I went to go see this other guy. He's like, oh, that's weird. Why is he making you do that move? Do this instead. I did it. Next day I shot a 77. So it's like, what, are they wrong? No, they're both great golf players, but it's more about you. Like, if you look at the best golfers in the world, they all swing differently.
Yeah.
Everybody have a different swing.
And that's fine, right?
That's fine. It's like, dude, find your swing.
Yeah.
I think you can test all these different things out. Maybe take what Hormozy says, take what I say, take what Jordan says, whatever. Try it out yourself. And if you feel alignment with that, stick with it. But if you feel like, dude, this is really just not me, don't do it because some internet bro that you never met give you some advice who knows nothing about your life. Be careful what you take advice from too. But try it out. And then ask yourself, like, do I see myself doing this? Is this alignment with me? Then see what happens.
And would you also kind of caveat that comment by saying that that is okay to change over time? So maybe when you're 25, it's fine to kind of, push through and work 20 hours a day, but at 35, that might be different.
Yeah, I think we all have different chapters in our lives and different seasons in our lives. And for me, now I built 2 businesses. And to be honest, I don't think I want to spend 14 hours a day building another business again. Like, Elon said, like, building business like eating glass. I think obviously that's to the extreme because of the business he's building. But at the same time, yeah, like, there are going to be moments where it's pretty tough. It's pretty stressful. I mean, I'm you got to accept those with open arms. That's just part of the deal. But at the same time, I'm definitely not going to be in a place. Look, at the end of the day, it's just alignment, man. If I can narrow everything up, be aligned, because burnout doesn't come from hard work. Burnout comes from doing the hard work on the things that you know you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
It's not even about the things you don't want to be doing. The things you don't want to be doing can lead to like little burnouts at the beginning of building a business. You definitely have to do a bunch of stuff that you don't like doing, responding to customer emails, this and that. Like, I don't want to do that shit, but you have to do it. But if you know you really shouldn't be doing something deep inside, like morally, ethically speaking, that will eat at you.
Okay. I want to kind of round this off by just asking about, your future. So we've spoken about this kind of off camera. One, what are you kind of optimizing for now? Is it happiness? I'm assuming it's not kind of cash collected as it was before.
Yeah.
But then 2 is, how do you know when you're working on a project that this is something that I'm, fully behind, I'm aligned with?
Yeah.
How are you kind of like evaluating that? Like, should I do more of this? Or pivot?
It's just curiosity, man. Like, right now, I'm super curious about my next product launch. I really want to crack TikTok Shop. I've never done TikTok Shop before because back then it didn't exist. I'm speaking to like 10 different agencies. I'm asking people, hey, do you know anybody who does TikTok Shop? Yeah. Like, that in itself, I'm not even forcing myself. It's like a curiosity thing. So if I'm curious about something, I catch myself like being curious about it. That's a very, very positive signal that I'm working on something that's interesting to me.
So you like learning?
I like learning. I really like learning. Yeah, like at the end of the day, when I learn something, I feel good about myself. So it's like, I look at learning as like upgrading your software. Like, your computer software, iOS software is always updating. Same as for our brain. You got to keep updating your software. And how you update that is by gaining just more knowledge. Okay. So yeah, man, like, I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs I've talked to where they made a boatload of money. They became very, very lost. Yeah. Jay Kassan was one of them. He openly talked about it on Reddit, how he made 100 million. He became like lost. It's hard to, it's hard. People call it the Titanic problem, right? It's like, oh, wow, like, sorry, your nice boat sunk, like, fuck, man, they're dead, like, they still sunk. Yeah. So it's one of those problems where it's like hard to feel bad for someone being in that position because everybody have their own problems to deal with. But at the end of the day, for that person, it's still their problem. So it's hard to talk about. But I think nowadays, like more and more people are coming out and talking about it. And I think the biggest thing is, like my life coach's name is called Chad Hurst, Herst. So you guys, he's done wonders for me. Also kind of like going back to your childhood and figuring out like making peace with those memories as well. There's, every single one of us, I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they're successful because, for example, they never had a dad. Like their dad ran away when they were a kid, or their mom ran away. Like actually a big surprising community. And I think that's what it takes, because like it drove them, like it drove, and it worked up to a certain point. But it's like, do you want to use that fuel for the rest of your life? So for my next chapter, I feel like the first chapter of my life was very much like a drag car race, just like 0 to 100 as quickly as possible, like put in the worst gas, whatever. And then after 100, after 5 seconds, this car is done. Like it's got to rest for like 100 years. I want to be a Tesla for my next, like, I want to be I don't even mind being a fucking Toyota Prius for the next round of my entrepreneur journey, right? I want some eco-friendly mileage. I don't need to go as fast, but I want to just be smooth, steady, eco-friendly. And I want to be very level-headed, and I don't want to get too up. I don't want to get too down. And I want to let curiosity lead the way. And I think by doing that, by not looking at the end result will take care of itself. If you just control these inputs, these are tasks that you're responsible for.
Yep.
Dude, Amazon can get bombed tomorrow. Like it can just get shut down tomorrow. Like you never know. Like my friend, I met him one time, but he owns a THC drink company, right? Crazy company. Now Trump might be banning like hemp. Like his business will go out of business, dude. So you just never know what's going to come. But if you can control the day-to-day stuff, the input that you can control, then that's all you can really do. So, yeah, man, like we'll see. I have no expectations of my future right now. I have not in a negative way, obviously, high expectations, but also not,
not forced.
Yeah, not forced. And I think surrendering to that, knowing that God is always looking out for me, and knowing that there's a greater being out, because I shouldn't be here today. I really shouldn't. So I think there's a great force that's looking after me as well. So it's like, doesn't matter if it's the Quran, the Bible. I think the most said verse in those books are like, do not fear.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, it's all going to work out. Yeah. Like it's all going to work out. So do not fear. It's all going to work out. So
it was very powerful. And I think we should end it there. And I'd love to have you on in 2 years to see kind of.
I'm going to be homeless. Like, bro, I'm out of all my money. I was too happy. Like I need to.
I don't think that will be the case.
No,
I think what you're saying there is right. But yeah, Tom, thank you so much for.
Thank you for having me on.